So, welcome to Tuesday, the 16th of February. Tuesday, the 16th of February, yeah. And today's Tuesday Talk from In Control Scotland. And today we are joined again by Michael McEwan, who is going to talk to us about the Paralympics, about perception, about different images of disability, different things. Yeah, okay. So, Michael's going to talk to us as normal on a Tuesday Talk, if this is the first time, for about 30 minutes. And also just to remind you that it is possible, while Michael's talking, that you can make comments or any thoughts about what Michael's saying by using the comments section that you should be able to access via whatever stream you're watching it on. So you could be watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, In Control Scotland YouTube. And I will go away now and say welcome to Michael, and we'll see you. I'll be back in about half an hour.
Okay, thanks, Keith. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I forget, happy Pancake Tuesday to you. We celebrate Pancake Tuesday fun enough every year about this time as well. But that's enough about the pancakes. Let's go on to the Tuesday Talks. And this month, I do a talk every month. I'm here every second Tuesday, or should be out of every month. And I'm about to speak to you about the Paralympics and how it's kind of changed people's perceptions of disability. Craig is watching. Hi, Craig. Hello. Hopefully you're well. Jim is watching. Happy Pancake Tuesday to you as well. I've not had any pancakes yet, Jim, but I'm hoping when I go off here, I'll have some pancakes waiting for me. Oh, and I do. That's good. So yeah, I'm going to speak about the Paralympics movement and how it's changed people that are chosen in terms of disability as a whole, but also different movements in the world of disability sport. So as you know, everything was cancelled last year because of the coronavirus, and they're hoping it's still on at the moment, fingers crossed, that the Paralympics and the Olympic Games will still be on. But actually, I don't know if anybody knows, but because this is 2021 and it was supposed to be last year, they're still branding it as 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. Now, the Olympic Games happens before the Paralympics. And the Paralympics this year has been held, it's usually in September, but because everything's kind of upside down, as you see, they are holding the Paralympics between the 24th to the 5th of September. So that's the Tokyo Games between the 24th of August to the 5th of September. Now, the first ever Paralympic Games was held in 1960. And before anybody says anything, no, I wasn't really about at that time. I wasn't really about that time. I'm a bit of an 80s guy. So that was the first ever Paralympic Games in 1960, and the first Winter Olympic Games for the para athletes was made in 1976. Now, over the years, we've actually saw the Paralympic Games disability movement. And it's very good to see and also today it's one of, Keith was saying if it was upside down, it would be in a school. Yeah, well done, yeah. And now it's one of the most largest disability sporting events ever to take place. So it's been all over the world, but obviously this year or last year, but this year it's gone to Tokyo as well. So if we go back to the first ever Olympic Games in 1960, there was, believe it or not, 23 countries participating, and now in 2012 in London, what I was going to speak about, it is 100 countries taking part. So you can see the difference between the comparisons, because back in 1960, a lot of people wasn't spoken about if they've got a disability. People was getting shut away into institutions, and they were an afterthought about speaking about disability as a whole. But now that we've moved forward in times, it's good to see that disability is at the forefront. And I'm going to tell you why I think that movement, especially the Paralympic Games movement, has helped today in society, not even in sport, but in communities as well. So they were all the first TV appearance of the Paralympics was basically shown years ago, but obviously at that time it wasn't live on the telly. 1976, the games were shown on the telly, and it wasn't that big, but at least it was televised. But when I say televised, it wasn't live. So you had like highlights at night of the Paralympic Games. So I would imagine that you had half an hour to 45 minutes, and the tape was sent out to the TV companies so that you can, that you can see the Paralympics as well. So in 1992, the Paralympics again was televised, and they were showing you 45 hours of the Olympics back in 1992, and that was quite good to see. But of course, the big breakthrough for me, and obviously the rest of the Paralympians, and also the disability movement, was back in 2012 when Channel 4 won the rights to show the Paralympics. And believe it or not, so Channel 4 made a call to put out for people with a disability to present, to be producers, and also to work with cameras as well. So out of that, they had a lot of TV presenters with a disability and people working behind the camera with a disability. And I was pleased to see that when I was doing my research on the Tuesday Talk, that Channel 4 won the rights, and they gave 150 hours during the games. So that means they were on every day, and every day you saw two presenters with a disability, and also they had like a highlight show at night as well. And as well as the Paralympics, they had the last leg on was Adam Hill, George Wickham, and Alex Brooker, two guys with a disability and one comedian who hasn't got a disability. And that was started off of the back of that. That was a kind of like magazine show where you had like a roundup of the games, but also you had people coming on there to speak about the Paralympics as well. I know obviously they spoke to like the winners of that day, from Team GB or other parts of the world. I'm happy to say that Channel 4 has continued on the last leg. It's on a Friday night, and it's one of the best comedy, well, not comedy, but magazine kind of programs as well. Because even though that they were speaking about the Paralympics, but now when you watch the last leg on Channel 4, it is a magazine program, so that even though that they've got two presenters with a disability, they don't always speak about disability issues. They speak about they speak about politics, the likes of Donald Trump, the likes of Brexit, the likes of the coronavirus as well, and also they have guests on the program as well. So that's good to see, and it's continued. And Channel 4 has commissioned that since 2012, so I think that to be applauded by Channel 4. I think personally speaking, when I do any interviews or else I get asked a question about what has changed in the disability field over the years, people's perspective of the disability movement. I would reflect, I would tell people about the Paralympics in 2012 in London, because that was a big movement. And it was brilliant to see 150 hours a week dedicated to disability sport, because where else do you see that even now, nowadays? I think that it lets people see that people can participate in sport. And when you watch para sports or any other sports, you forget about the person with a disability. You look upon them as a person, and that really brings it home to me. And obviously that kind of knocked down some barriers, as it were, in terms of stigma towards people with a disability. Don't get me wrong, there's still somewhat to be done in terms of employment, but if we keep kind of like chipping away at this and knocking down the barriers, it'll help us going forward as well. And the likes of when the Commonwealth Games was in Glasgow, the para sports programme is within the Commonwealth Games. So when the Olympics are finished, usually you see the Olympics are finished and then the Commonwealth Games coming in. But because of the Commonwealth Games, they have the para program within the Commonwealth Games program. So that was good to see when it came to Scotland that BBC covered both of the events as well. I would like to see more disability sport on TV, because a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of TV companies just assume that. So they just assume that people with a disability perform in Paralympics every 4 years, and that's it. They don't speak about individual sporting events. Like, so some TV channels are getting better, especially the BBC are showing more Paralympics on the red button or online. I'm thinking about Wimbledon, when it usually happens on the final of Wimbledon. Usually you see wheelchair tennis as well, and a couple of days leading up to that, you have the wheelchair tennis tournament. I think it's like 4 days before the end. And obviously, a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago now, I was watching the wheelchair Nottingham Open, and that was behind the red button as well. So TV channels are beginning to wake up to the sense that it's not just Paralympics. It's more, because when you see football on every week, you have disability football, you have disability golf, you have disability rugby as well, and they kind of like standalone events, So I would like to see more of the kind of like events on the TV. But I suppose Channel 4 has did well to get the rights to the 2012 London Paralympics, and the BBC done well for the Commonwealth Games. But I would like to see more of that. And the more and more that people sees the sport achievements that people can do, the better. I mean, I look upon them as people. I don't look upon them as, oh, look at that poor boy, he's in a wheelchair. You know, look at the talents. We should start looking at the disability or the wheelchair. We should look beyond that and look at the talents that people can bring. And out of the Paralympic Games, we have like household names now. We had the likes of Johnny Peacock. He was in, I think it was Slightly Come Dancing a couple of years ago. And then you had Will, I can't remember his second name, but if you know his name, leave a comment if you want. But Will Berry, he is I can't remember what sport he's in either, but if anybody can find it, oh no, I just remember table tennis, and he was in Slightly Come Dancing as well. So that people see that people, it's not like a kind of like one-trick pony, as it were, and they can do things as well. And so that they ping pong, yeah, and you know, it lets people see that they can do other things as well, apart from the sporting events. Because why should we be any different from like the next person and all that? And the likes of, obviously I'm not here to speak about it today, but the likes of Britain's Got Talent, you had a Lost Voice man on it, and he's actually did well for himself. I saw a few times that he's had some regular comedy shows on Radio 4 as well, and obviously you had Rosie Jones and some other disability advocate on Question Time a couple of weeks ago as well. So I like to see disability getting into the mainstream, but also forgetting about, that person's got a disability, look upon them as people. So I think it was important to speak about it today, about the Paralympics movement, and then through time, hopefully we'll have other stars as well coming up, like Neil Fatcher. Neil Fatcher is quite big in indoor of the velodrome, you know, the cycling. Neil was being partially sighted. He from Scotland as well. And obviously we've got a few other Scottish household names as well. One of my good pals I went to school with is Stephen Maguire. He is number one in the world for Boccia. That is the equivalent to bowls over here in Scotland. It's like a friend's game for people that's not got very good mobility issues in the arms. So hopefully Stephen will get picked this year to go to the Tokyo Games. What I was going to say to you as well was the team has not been announced yet for Tokyo. So the next we always have a female skill of disabilities prime time also, and the Lost Voice guy. Yeah. So that's what I was saying, Jim. The Lost Voice man has been about. He's been about for ages. Actually, before he went on to Britain's Got Talent, I think he won BBC 4 Comedian of the Year a few years ago now. But since he's won Britain's Got Talent, he's into everything and into everything in a good way as well. In fact, I was watching something on, I think, John made a comment about a comedy gig about Lee on Prime, and it was in Newcastle. So that was good to see as well. And yeah, and it's good to see Lee and Francesca Martin, as Francesca is a big disability campaigner. Francesca's got the same disability as me, cerebral palsy. And Rosie Jones, they've been on Question Time Week a few times as well. And it's quite good for them not to rip into the government, but also to tell it the way it is for disabled people, and giving people a voice and a platform to speak about their concerns. Obviously, there's a big concern at the moment, because another conversation for another day about people with a disability. They should actually be first to get vaccinated, but that's another conversation for another day. So yeah, it's good to see people on reality shows as well, and it's good to see Paralympians taking part in TV shows and adverts as well. If somebody had to ask me what I would like to see more of, I would like to see more of people with a disability, or any kind of background. They don't really have to be a Paralympian. In general, to be on more panel shows, to speak about the day's news, like Sir Jeremy Vine, like Sir This Morning, and all that. And the likes of Question Time as well, to speak about these kind of like mainstream issues. Yeah, so back to what I was talking about Stephen Maguire. Yeah, so Stephen plays a Paralympic sport called Boccia. Now, Boccia is designed for people with a disability who hasn't got any, who has not got a lot of mobility in the arms. So it's a kind of like French game of balls that they play. Now, Stephen is number one in the world. Now, hopefully in a few months' time, that we'll hear the lineup for Tokyo, Team GB, because it's the Paralympics, it's Team GB, and when it's the Commonwealth Games, it is Team Scotland. It really gets a bit confusing, but that's like the way they work it as well. I would really like to see the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games being in Glasgow again, because it was such a good atmosphere, and I went to a couple of mainstream events in the Commonwealth Games, and it was a good atmosphere as well. I should have mentioned as well the Special Olympics, and I know one person, it was going to go to the Special Olympics. I think it was last year, but it was cancelled. So yeah, and I don't know when the Special Olympics are going to be. I think they were meant to be in England last year, but everything's kind of, as Keith said, everything's upside down, a bit like Australia. So hopefully they will be on this year. I mean, it's a busy year of sport, because as well as the Olympics, the Paralympic Games, and you've got the Euros as well, that Scotland gets the qualifying as well. When we're talking about football, Scotland's quite big when it comes to the world of cerebral palsy football. They have got a national team. Now, I used to play for the Scotland team like years ago, but in recent years they've been going to different events, different tournaments, and every corner of the globe, if you want to call it. They've been to like Brazil, and they've been to China to compete in the cerebral palsy kind of like World Cup as well. So one day I would like to see more disability sport on TV. And I think when you see what they can achieve, what we can achieve on the TV when we're given the chance, then people's barriers will get put down. I've just remembered that there was somebody on from the Invictus Games, JJ Chalmers, this year. He was in the British Armed Forces, but sadly, he is his leg got blown off. So he is now he was one of the ones that scattered the Invictus Games, and he was on Strictly Come Dancing this year. So Jim's asking me about what about having more people with a disability in Scotland? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see more people in Parliament. Obviously, I don't know if anybody knows this, and I was actually considering a career in politics. Up until last year, I was thinking about scanning for like Holyrood at the next elections in May, because I don't know if you know, but including Scotland, one of Scotland's biggest organisations, they actually put money in to help people with a disability get into politics. So I had that fund. So that means that you can skank for any political party. You don't have to skank for the usual ones like the Tory party, the SNP, the Greens, the Lib Dems, Labour. You can skank for any political party. I know by looking at my social media channels that there has been a lot vetted, and a lot of people with a disability scanning in different areas in Scotland, and that's good to see, because again, it's giving people a voice. Yeah, so I mean, I was considering that up until I think it was November last year, and between once and another, yeah, I didn't really bother running for office, and I would like to do that, but you know, I think the timing has got to be right. Obviously, I'm not skanking and all that, and I have my political party that I believe in, but what I do through my work, like of Tuesday talks and all that, I can advocate for disabled people, and obviously I'm the chairperson of my local disability group, so in a way that is campaigning, and you're campaigning with or against the council sometimes to make life a bit more easier for disabled people. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Jim, I know I gave you a big answer there for a short question, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people scanning for Holyrood, because as you know, I don't know if you know, but when you go to consider yourself as a candidate, you've got to be vetted. The likes of have you committed a crime, do a police check and stuff, and then when you're by that stage, well, you can go and scan, or else you can do the check but not do anything about it. It's completely up to you. So yeah, check out Inclusion Scotland. They've got a fund called Access to Politics. Obviously, disabled people, and the vetting process was open till December of last year, and everything was on hold as well because of the coronavirus. But I think the Scottish Parliament elections are going to happen now, because you've seen adverts in the papers and the TV as well. So yeah, I mean that's another good thing to say, that people in like offices like that, to let them see that people with a disability do know their rights, do know like their human rights as well. So Yeah, that's a good question, Jim. So every aspect in life is raising awareness in a way, whether it's come to sport, whether it comes to TV soaps, whether it comes to reality shows, whether it comes to Scottish Parliament or Westminster. So that's a good question. So thanks for listening to me and I'll be back next month.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I can tell that you really like sport, Michael. Lots of different sports.
Yeah. I don't know how you can tell that, Keith.
Yeah, maybe one day you just need to do a sport live stream and think.
Yeah, maybe one day. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for today's Tuesday Talk. We've got the banner going along the bottom telling us that the next Tuesday Talk will be on Tuesday, the 2nd of March, and that will be joined that day by Dr. Danielle Farrell again at 2 p.m. For 30 minutes of topical talk, interesting facts, and views from Danielle next time. But thank you to you for today, Michael, and you will be back next month as well, on the 9th or the 16th. We haven't quite worked that out yet, have we?
No, we haven't. No.
Okay, the 9th or the 16th of March. Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.